Skull and Bones closed beta began on the 25th of August and is running until the 28th of August, and I've been very lucky to have been given early access to it by Ubisoft, who happen to be the sponsor of this video. So without further ado, let's get into everything you need to know about Skull and Bones closed beta. We'll go over Skull and Bones' closed beta's narrative. It's not just plundering, pillaging and ship combat, there's a narrative driving the missions and contracts you'll be accepting. The opening starts with a player taking control of a ship in an area inspired by the Indian Ocean during the 17th century. It's here that you're thrust into the heat of battle with a well-armed ship. You'll be taking on several British ships who seek to send you to Davy Jones' locker. It's fast-paced, explosive and satisfying. After a hard-fought battle, the ship ends up sinking. Now, your journey as a pirate begins. You wake up as a survivor of a different ship, the Exeter, now beached. Your character wakes on a piece of driftwood, where you get to customize your appearance. Two of your crewmates rescue you on a dhow, a small boat used for fishing and supply gathering. This is where you get to chart your own path as you find your way to the infamous pirate den of St. Anne. The game will take you through a brief tutorial in this area here before setting off. Once you reach St. Anne, you'll start to meet the locals, chiefly the local pirate kingpin John Scurlock. Scurlock is your typical pirate, foul-mouthed, cunning and brutal, but the narrative missions begin with him. You'll take contracts from him which progress the story and will help you make a name for yourself in Skull and Bones' closed beta. Your goal is to rule as a fearsome and infamous pirate kingpin, and you're going to have to work with Scurlock to achieve that goal. Skull and Bones closed beta's gameplay is split into two parts, on land and at sea. On land, you'll mainly be managing resources, exploring settlements and other locations, and picking up the various contracts that act as the game's activities. In the closed beta, St. Anne acts as your jumping off point for activities, also containing the facilities for managing your resources and your ship. The outpost works as a safe place, allowing you to take in the world with no threat of hostile NPCs or other players. It's worth noting that doing anything in co-op does increase the difficulty, but you can form a fleet of up to 3 ships. You can head to Scurlock to pick up some story-based contracts, or use the many boards, which will refresh regularly. Fancy fetching some stolen cargo? The commodity trader will supply you with a contract. Feeling like taking on a deadly pirate? The bounty board is for you, with 3 available in the closed beta. The contract board will task you with miscellaneous objectives to complete out in the world, such as sinking merchant ships. The activities expand while you're out at sea, with plenty of dynamic events available in the closed beta. Starting us off are plunders. Plunders are multi-stage battles that you have to defend against waves of enemies as you chip away at their defences. I actually got sunk in my first attempt, so make sure you come well prepared. Skull and Bones' closed beta also has world events. You'll be notified by one taking place and the game will show you the location on the map. The world events consist of high risk, high reward challenges. Players will find themselves fighting against merchant convoys under heavy warship escort. These are best played in co-op due to the difficulty. Rounding off our activities, we have the cutthroat cargo, and this may be the most intense yet. Sometimes when sailing in the sea, you can come across these red glowing maps called legendary treasure maps. If you pick this up, PvP is triggered and any other eligible participants are notified. If you have the legendary treasure map, you are marked on the map, causing other player ships to hunt you. You have to outrun your pursuers and dock at an outpost marked on your map. Once safe at the outpost, dig up the treasure for a huge payday. Note, fast travel is also disabled during this activity. The standout gameplay of Skull and Bones' closed beta is the ship building and the combat. If you have ever played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag or Assassin's Creed Rogue, you will feel this is very familiar. Skull and Bones' closed beta takes that gameplay and expands, refines and deepens it, leading to a really satisfying gameplay experience. This all begins when choosing your ship. There are several ships available in the closed beta, from the humble dhow to the medium-sized sandbook. Each ship has its advantages and negatives. Different ships have different speeds, indicated in the menu select screen. Some ships will be faster but have less hull and bracing strengths, or the opposite. Some ships even have high bracing strengths but weaker hulls. Moreover, certain ships will pair very well with certain strengths and resistances. Skull and Bones closed beta has an elemental system when it comes to damage. These include explosive, piercing, fire, flooding and tearing. Higher tier weapons will also give you access to these. On top of this, different ship types allow for different weapon placements. Oh, and you're not just limited to bog standard cannons. Each weapon is crafted to not only perform uniquely through their damage types, but aspects like range and function. The all-deck weapons are your standard cannons. For instance, Culverins are your traditional cannons that can be specialised into a variant, like more tearing damage. This applies to the other classes too. Demi-cannons fire shotgun-like shrapnel blasts tailored to close combat. Top deck weapons include bombards that lob bombs at the enemy, or long guns that have higher range than the culverins. Auxiliary weapons focus on mortars that lob shells instead of bombs, and rockets, which fire a salvo of missiles at your foes. Last, but by no means least, bow weapons. Simply put, you can have a ballista that fires giant but precise bolts, or you can have a flamethrower. I don't think I need to explain what that does. Similar to your weapons, you can choose to add armour under the attachments category. These will provide resistances such as leather armour reducing fire damage. They can be offensive tools too. Spiked armour can provide extra ramming damage. Ammunition is a resource, so make sure you stock up on all the ammo you need before setting out. You can change ships whenever you want at the outpost, so you can return to a smaller ship if you wish. Weapons can be moved from ship to ship but cannot be equipped to 2 ships at the same time. Same with your cargo. I love the fact we can have loads of different ships. It's great for building your own pirate fleet. Skull and Bones closed beta has so many options, allowing you to customize how you fight down to a T. The combat control is exactly how you would expect, with the option to view your battle in third or first person. Shots will be aimed in first person to allow you to fine tune your aim. Depending on where you move the camera, you'll automatically choose the weapon for the angle. The HUD has a little guide to show if your target is in your broadside, chase weapon or rear weapon. Moving the camera out of this zone will let you change weapons. Ships all have different weak spots marked with a red glow. If you hit these areas, you get a damage bonus. The sails and rigging can be damaged, more so if you aim for it. This loads them and makes them easier to catch. This is also where the tearing elemental damage will come in handy. This isn't all, as you can also board enemy ships that have low hull health for a bonus amount of loot. Your crew can also pepper the enemy with musket fire. If you are taking hits, which will happen in tough fights, you can brace. Bracing will cause your ship to take reduced damage and will keep you in the fight during tougher encounters. If you take too much damage, you'll need to repair. This is done with repair kits, but once you use one, you're subject to a cooldown. Restoration kits work similarly, but remove status effects from your ship. If you do sink, you can save your ship with a recovery kit. This will save your ship, but you will have reduced maximum health until you repair your ship at a friendly outpost. Sailing in Skull and Bones closed beta is pretty simple. The ship has 4 states: sails in, sails down halfway, sails all the way down, and travel speed. The last speed requires stamina, indicated by the green bar. If this runs out, you have to slow down. Your speed is determined by the above states, but it's also determined by the wind's direction. If the wind is in front of you, you'll move slower. If it's behind you, you'll move faster. My favourite factor influencing this is your cargo hold. If your cargo hold reaches over halfway, you become over encumbered, and this will reduce your maximum speed. It's pretty easy to get to grips with, but has depth that makes the sailing that bit more rewarding. Also worth noting, there are safe zones around the map which are marked by these buoys. In these areas, you can't be damaged and your weapons are disabled. To round off the sailing, you can use your spyglass to spot player and NPC ships alike. This will tell you the information from the cargo, to the armour, to the weapons found on the ship. The spyglass can be improved to spy ships and locations from greater distances. You can also use flares to warn others of danger or call for help too. If you just want to chill while sailing, get your crew to strike up a tune. Customization comes in 2 forms in Skull and Bones: your pirate and your ship. The offerings available for your pirate include hats, coats, belts, trousers, boots, gloves, base accessories, necklaces, scars and tattoos. These can be purchased from the vendor in St. Anne. You start with a lowly castaway and can acquire more clothing to match your pirate status. Emotes are available too, used to interact with other players in your world. There are several points of customization for your ship. You can change the livery on your sails and your hull, the figurehead, the wheel, the decorations around your ship, your nameplate, your pet, your crew outfit, and your firework type. Skull and Bones will also let you name your ship up to 15 characters. All customization options, both ship and pirate, are cosmetic only and do not provide any stat bonuses. In the closed beta, participants will earn the Pioneer ship set, the Spoken For emote, and the Skull and Bones firework. It's worth mentioning too, progression is handled by a system called Infamy. Infamy can be earned for completing contracts and other actions around the world. It's a linear progression system that will net you new contract types, ship blueprints, weapon unlocks, tool unlocks, and ship and clothing customization. Lastly, I'm going to go over the crafting system. We touched on resource management with ammo, but crafting is a whole different kettle of fish. Throughout the world of Skull and Bones, you can find raw materials. Some of this is floating in the sea, some is on enemy ships, and some needs to be harvested. Depending on the resource, you'll need a specific tool to gather it. The saw is used for sawing down trees and collecting wood. The pickaxe is used for mining metal, the sickle is used for harvesting fibres, and lastly, the crowbar is used for breaking into beached shipwrecks and looting their holds. Materials will need to be refined, so you'll have to take them to the refinery. Here you can hire up to 3 workers to refine your material into usable resources. To craft items, you'll have to obtain blueprints. These can be purchased from vendors or earned as rewards. All of this can be tracked in the Knowledge tab. There are 4 vendors in St. Anne that can craft items for you. The shipwright will make you new ships, the carpenter makes captain's tools, furniture and repair kits, the blacksmith will craft ship weapons, attachments and ammo, and the refinery, as mentioned before, will refine your crafting materials. Finally, you have a warehouse which allows you to store goods if your ship is over encumbered or you don't want to lose any precious items. And that does it. That's all you need to know about the features in Skull and Bones' closed beta. I hope this has given you some more insight into how it plays and the kind of world you'll be jumping into. I'd like to thank Ubisoft again for sponsoring this video and allowing me to play this closed beta build of Skull and Bones. I am very much looking forward to the full release and excited to see what more we'll learn in the future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
I guess I'll keep digging until I get gold. Only in old St. Anne. What did you drink?